Okay, hello everyone. I'm Pa, this is Stephanie, and this is Wendell, and this is our VR self-defense simulation application called StandGuard. Okay, so here's our agenda for the presentation. We'll start with some team introduction, the purpose of our project, and the target audience. And then we'll talk about how our project changed throughout the 6 months that we were working on it. And then how user testing and research changed and informed our project. And then finally, we'll look at the demo and then the key learnings we took away from this experience as a team. And then maybe it's time for questions at the end. Okay. So I'm Paul. I was the project manager and UI UX designer for this. I worked on organizing tasks for our project, designing the UI within the game, and compiling user feedback. This is Stephanie. She was our technical artist. She worked on staging the environment in the game, creating the voice lines that the characters speak, and then doing the video editing for our marketing materials. And this is Wendell. He was our software developer. He drafted the roadmap and scope of the project, coded all the interactions in the project, and worked on doing testing and debugging for it. We worked together using Unity for this development, and we used GitHub for version control and collaboration, and the Meta VR tools for Meta Quest development. All right. So why do we focus on self-defense? In January, we were approached by our client, Bradley, who teaches a self-defense class, and he wanted us to make a supplemental experience for his students. So why is self-defense important for new college students to learn? According to Right to Be, about 67% of students report experience harassment on campus, and then another 61% of them witness another student being harassed on campus. So it's important to teach the new students how to react appropriately during risky situations like that. And because of that, our potential users and target audience will be first-year college students. These new students usually have a heightened chance of risky behavior due to their newfound independence, and they also have limited real-world experience. And because of that, self-defense class is great to prepare these students for those potential situations, and it's usually done through role play. However, these role play sessions can be potentially uncomfortable for some students who don't like to do it with strangers, and it's also not fully immersive since it's still within a classroom environment. So this is why we thought a VR experience would be a great way to supplement the self-defense class with like a more immersive experience, and that can allow students to practice responding to risky situations, learn about situational awareness, experience realistic environments safely, and also build confidence before facing real-world situations. All right, I'm going to pass it on to Wendell.
Can I borrow your notes?
Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you.
Okay.
So winter quarter, we spent figuring out how to make Unity work for a self-defense oriented product. Our initial user feedback pointed us toward room scale implementation, leveraging voice recognition, and hand tracking so that users could drive the game without controllers, using voice and hand gestures only. Our initial approach for prototyping was we used text boxes to display information to the users, 11 Labs text-to-speech for character voices, and Unity placeholder characters for our initial prototype.
I should play this really quickly.
And we didn't have much of a script to work from, so I had to improvise.
This was our first quarter prototype.
Alright. For the initial scope of the spring quarter was to continue the idea for players to go through several scenarios and practice the 5 Ds of bystander intervention. If you don't know what the 5 Ds of bystander intervention is, it's a concept that helps people effectively intervene with someone when someone is getting harassed, with the 5 principles of being distract, delegate, delay, direct, and document. However, we later pivoted our direction after many discussions about the concerns on scope of the project, where we decided to create one story for the player to experience, having it be in one place. where the player appears at a bus stop at night. This made the most sense since many students in this campus and other schools commute through the bus, where they may encounter uncomfortable situations. So our VR game will be teaching players on several fundamentals of self-defense techniques to better prepare themselves going to these type of public places. Next slide. So our first round of user feedback was during our prototype phase. You can click it, where the gameplay and mechanics were still unclear. So the main user feedback we received was that the gameplay did not have a sense of direction in terms of play, since we still did not have clear instructions for the user. Next slide.
You can see how.
So after many iterations and bug fixes later, we finally had a better foundation of the look of the environment, and we had clear instructions and game mechanics for the user to play through. The main setback we noticed that players were having was that they were not reading instructions nor saying phrases out loud, which is the key portion of our game. Our solution was to prioritize making the UI of the instruction slides have a much clearer UI design, such as having the slides be less wordy and incorporate strategic colors for users to notice important details. Additionally, we noticed that some of the NPC characters were still not spawning correctly, our scanning game mechanic was not working properly, and the player hands in the VR were kind of lagging. So for our user testing methods, we created surveys for users to fill in after playtests, which you can see on the left. And we would also record each playtest using the casting recording tool in the Meta Horizon app that allowed us to see what our users were looking at in the game. Additionally, we had a log that was documenting the entire playtests, you can see in the right, where this log would get sent to our Discord channel. There, you could see the type of device that was running the game, at what time it was played, the duration of the gameplay, and what the user was saying out loud. Overall, the user feedback helped us to determine what features to prioritize. And to better picture the game product, here is our demo. All right, so the environment is set in a dark, eerie bus stop late at night. The player encounters 4 main characters, which are the pedestrian, old lady, intruder / the bad guy, and a suspicious individual who's possibly homeless. The first task given for the player is to scan their surroundings. The game will prompt the player to scan 4 objects around their environment. After each scenario is completed, the player will learn a new self-defense technique through a slide that is floating in front of the player. The slides change after the player verbally says next slide, loud and clear. This is done on purpose so that players' vocals warm up for later scenarios which require them to interact with characters out loud. The second scenario is for the player to practice maintaining safe distance from strangers coming their way. It does not matter if strangers don't mean any harm, people should be always aware if someone is going into their personal space. Next, the little lady arrives to wait for the bus stop, and this is where our suspicious individual arrives to bother the player and the little poor lady. We have the player practice saying phrases that help to reinforce a sense of agency and control during an uncomfortable situation. As soon as the player firmly says out loud, "I don't have any money," the character walks away. One of the main points from this scenario we're teaching the player is that confident communication can discourage unwanted approaches before they escalate. The goal is to stay calm and not violent. The fourth scenario is having the player practice the fence position, which is initially having the player raise their hands up high in front of their shoulders and their arms spread apart. The players need to hover their hands over the red boxes displayed in front of them until they turn green, indicating that they're in the right spot. We let the players stay in this position throughout the scenario. This position helps to establish authority in front of an intruder while not instilling any violence. Now, the last scenario, which is the most anticipated part of the game, is where we have the player get to palm strike, which is basically punch the character right into their face. We teach our users that there will be situations that will escalate to the point where you would need to physically defend yourself, and that is okay. The final part of this experience is a recovery checklist to make sure to breathe, check yourself for any injuries, scan your surroundings one more time, and decide on your next steps.
Oh, thank you. Unity and Git do not play well together without someone to referee, and Unity configuration differences between build machine, bugs, scope creep, and regressions cause us to lose development cycles during the spring quarter. Lessons learned. Define scope early, pad your schedule, and prioritize features to make cutting scope easy.
And this is our access and use page. So we have like a Notion documentation throughout our whole project, our OER page, and our project leak page where you can download this experience off of the Meta Hub. And yeah, but hopefully this will help self-defense instructors teach their students, and maybe students can play the game for fun and then also take something away from it. All right.
And a little bonus point, if it shows up,
Yeah.
all the issues that we had during our game.
Very long.
Thank you.
Oh, well, stay there. I don't know if we have any questions here or online. Do you have any questions for the people that are here in person? Or anyone online, if you want to put it on the chat. We have a lot of clapping. Virtual clapping inside Zoom.
Do you want any comments from me as the, like...
Oh,
Yeah, for sure.
You mind?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
just real quick. I won't make it long-winded, but... So, basically, I know nothing about VR other than I've come into the lab before and put on a headset and played a few games.
Yeah.
And these guys totally blew my mind because by the time I had an idea what they could convey with like your hands up saying, hey, back off, you know, like I don't want a problem with you, I still had in my mind that we'd be holding a controller. And so when they gave me a play test, they're like, yeah, no, there's no controller. It's reading your hands. And so then putting your hands in the box. It was really, really cool. And they did an awesome job with it. They had almost, you know, done extra research. His experience with other background self-defense stuff was actually really critical for their product, I think, too. So I just think it was really awesome, you guys. As the person who's the client,
Yeah.
I think you just did a really great job of like inquiry from me and just the product. So it was, I learned a ton from it. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So thank you.
And then the
Thank you.
next step is taking your students in VR and see what they
Yes,
think.
yes.
Looking forward
Any
to that.
students can try. And
Yeah.
actually, you guys should try this in product
Yeah.
because it will make you feel creeped out. And then it will make you put your hands up here, and everybody makes the mistake of going, hey, no, I don't want a problem, and this does not work. And so it makes you put them in the lights. It's really cool. It's a really great experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you around.
Yeah.
Oh, I have one question online. It's saying, why was the language for the instructions for the player to follow? Was the punishment? Sorry. Can you read out loud your question? Or specify what you mean?
Can I come look over your shoulder?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Why was the language for the instructors?
I think it was strong.
Was the language for the players to follow strong? I think the question is the phrases that the player should use when interacting with the non-player character. Is that the question?
Yeah, or- Yes.
Yes. And we took some language from Bradley, and I have a background as a self-defense instructor. I'm actually a certified pepper spray instructor, and what we teach is keep it short and have pre-practiced phrases, because when you are dealing with a high-stress situation, if you have to make up words, it doesn't work. Personal experience, when facing a black bear at 20 yards, the instructions that I got were yell something. And I was at a loss for words for a few seconds, and then I yelled, don't move. Slowly raise your paws, drop that garbage can, reverting to a script that I had from something else but was able to adapt. Did that answer your question?
I think so. I have a question from Bradley, and are you planning to use this program in your bystander class, or are you looking for additional sections?
To be determined.
Okay, yeah. And then there is one more about accessibility, and they're asking if do you incorporate accessibility into your process as you go through the process of developing the game?
We had some ideas for adding subtitles, but it was more like a stretch goal, so we weren't able to add that yet. Yeah. So that was an idea for accessibility.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Great job. Perfect. Now we can have the other group.
Hello, greetings.
Stay there.
Okay. Our project is with the Snoqualmie Valley Museum, and what we're doing is actually creating an environment that is accessible to all people everywhere, and to make it be educational and interactive and interesting, and really for them to be able to learn the history and learn the artifacts and feel a place in their community to be strong. And our environment incorporates all kinds of technology, but it's all genuine artifacts. It's all real displayed in the virtual world. So
Why did we build this? So, not a lot of people know about like the small museums of other areas, and our goal is to bring that to people so they can learn about the history of the area, but also to help people who aren't really able to go there, and if they have anxiety, if they're not able to move around the area well, to bring that to them so they can experience history there. I personally have 3 friends. One lives in Washington, one in Oregon, and one in the UK, who were not able to go to this museum, but yet were able to experience what this museum has to offer because of this project. So, we scan 3D models using an app called Polycam, which takes photos and essentially makes that into a 3D object that you can look around and see. We also did 3D photo tours, which is just a series of 360 photos all stitched together to make the experience happen.
So the collaboration is pretty amazing. That there's so many people and so many organizations that we got to work with that have a lot of gratitude and thankfulness. I'm Travis Bridgman, by the way.
Thanks, Anna.
And we got to work with Professor Maria, and Ron did an amazing job, and then the museum staff and their contributors did an amazing job. So it really took a lot of community effort in order to put this together, as far as like as well as all sorts of the technologies and equipments.
So these are some of the 3D objects that we scanned. One of them is not on here. It was hosted on a different website other than Sketchfab, which is what these four are on. But we have just from the era a Native American hut, Native American house, I should say, antique fiddle, and a tea set, all of which were taken via through photos and then made into 3D objects, which we will explore later on in the demo.
The user testing went pretty swiftly. It was, people actually loved to go into the site, and of course they wanted to keep on navigating. They wanted to keep on learning, to have like a favorable flow through the program. So we were able to incorporate that through extra hotspots and buttons. There's probably in the SIGVIG, there's like 170 buttons, so you can easily navigate around.
With the feedback, we did 2 series of feedbacks. One of in person, asking people what they thought, and another one using a Google form and seeing what they thought there. For what people really enjoyed, we developed a side menu that people enjoyed going around if they found it easy to maneuver around with that. They also really liked the 3D objects that we scanned, so we added a few more because we had the resources to do that. So we have the QR code right there if you want to scan it, but we also are going to take a tour of it if that's okay.
Yeah.
So this is it. We right now are in the entrance, and this is the map that we have developed with the side menu.
The videos, maybe? The video, the welcome video.
Oh, yes. We also have a welcome video.
Hello, my name is Maddie Teddy, and I'm the educational assistant at the Snoqualmie Valley Museum.
Yeah.
Love to take the time to
Okay.
officially welcome
So it is sort of nice in this program, we're able to introduce like,
Our mission is to
It's not going.
Can you reload?
Yeah.
back in natural.
we're able to introduce videos, so we have like real testimonies of stories. We can introduce audio for like archived storytellers, and then those like 3D models and just all sorts of stuff that is really quite fascinating to interact with.
Sorry, 1 second. This freeze.
And with the new technology, there is little hiccups here and there because it just happens. This community is absolutely amazing that are building the forefront of technology into the future. And it's stuff that's really hasn't ever been done before, to create virtual spaces.
I'm going to share it on the chat so you can access to it for the people that are online. And let's see, let me share my screen again, and then you can do a quick walkthrough of the different rooms. Okay, yeah.
Cool. Okay. So
And then in the meantime, if anyone can think about the questions in the chat or in the room here, you can share them with me.
this is the entrance. We also have the 1950s exhibit. We have one of the 3D models, which is the 1950s period, just that I took a 3D scan of. You can see that it's fully interactable. You can zoom in, you can move around. We have the 20th century room, which has a lot of more in-depth photos. So you can do a bit more reading on it if you want to focus on some of those photos that are not very visible. We have the medicinal hallway. This is all really about medicine of the time. 1912's Pioneer Kitchen with one of the 3D sets in here. This one is arguably one of my favorite ones because of how well it turned out. We have the Snoqualmie Tribe Room with more photos. But we also have the shed, which not a lot of people can visit. This is the front view of it, which you can see inside. But the back view, this is kind of the part that people can't really see. And we were able to get like a sneak peek into it.
That carriage is pretty amazing, actually. You walk in and it's quite startling to witness that authenticity of like people came here and traveled on that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat yet. I don't know if anyone here in the room has. Okay. Okay, I see a question. So Joseph is saying, thank you for sharing your project. I am trying to convince my library administration to support a similar project. May I ask what type of subscription you have with SIGBIC and what are some of the pros cons of the platform? And maybe I can provide more context on this. We have, I'm not sure on the name exactly, we have the second tier of subscription with SIGBIC, and we've been working with SIGBIC for a while. It's a very, I mean, and you work with it, so you can also talk about like what are the things that you like from SIGBIC?
I love how you can embed like videos, really anything actually. You can embed pretty much anything and it will be able to pop up.
Yeah, and then yeah, it has a lot of flexibility. I will say like the cons is that sometimes it can be a little, like you have so many features that sometimes is harder to use than other platforms. So that flexibility, it can be also an issue because sometimes it's really hard to find like some specific window or a specific thing that you have to check in, but overall it's a good tool.
It's a good experience, and it's a small business, supporting a small business and small entrepreneurship, so that's cool.
I did find it somewhat limiting in the terms of we can only have 100 snaps, which means we're really limited on what we can show versus what we want to show.
Yeah. And that's related to the plan. So I know we have not like the first tier, we have the second tier, and then if you get the third tier, then you have even more images. Yes?
For SIGBIC, is there a VR implementation add-on? Like,
Yes.
can you actually connect with your headset?
There is. So you can natively visit this in VR if you wanted to.